So we're back on the Honda Vision. I've had the spark plug out, and I don't know if you can see, but if it'll focus, it's quite flooded. So, been trying to sort that out. So where we're at with this thing is the combustion chamber's flooded, the cylinder, and I think it's hydrolocked as well. I took the spark plug out and it turned over fine. It only locks up when you're kicking it when the spark plug's in, so it's a top end pressure thing, I think. So I could take the engine off and faff around with it, but I'm going to try turning it upside down, hopefully without damaging anything, with the spark plug out, and see if I can just drain some of it out. I've been kicking it over without the spark plug in for ages, and plenty's come out, and it's been all over here and inside this case, so it's going to smell lovely when it does start. But I think that's the problem. I've checked it, it does have spark. And the other thing I'm going to do is, in case there's any in the bottom of the crankcase, I reckon if I take the inlet manifold off and tip it on its side, I should be able to tip it all out, hopefully. So we'll try that for now, because I haven't really got time to take the engine off today. So let's just see what happens there. Right, I've done the top end by tipping the whole bike upside down. I haven't done the bottom end for oil, so let's see what we can do with it. Need some air in the tyres, and then we've got a runner. 50 quid, no money spent. I can't believe it. Never done this one-handed before, but let's have a ride on, see what happens. Could all end in tears, this. It's as fast as I dare go one-handed so far. It goes well though. Say I've done out to it really. It's literally just had the air filter taken out, the oil taken out of the cylinder. Normally I'd be going over it, I'd be cleaning the carb out, I didn't even properly drain the fuel tank. It's done what, 7,500 miles, so I'd normally have probably put at least new crank seals in it, if not more. And it just runs. It's a Honda. They just go. Everyone says they just go, and they really do. So I could do the wheel bearings and everything, make it perfect, and then take it for MOT, but that'd involve putting it at the back of the pile, and I want to ride it. So what I'm probably going to do is just do a couple of little bits, sort the stand out, because that's a bit dicey, make sure the lights work, fettle it up a bit, but not much, and then MOT it. I'm 5 quid into it so far, because I bought some foam to make an element for the filter, and that's as far as we've got. The van's going for some welding over the summer holidays. It'd be nice to have something to ride around on, so this is the plan. This thing's amazing, look, it's been standing overnight. This is the previously dead battery, it's still holding charge after one night at least. So that's the battery that came with it, amazing. Now, it's the next day, And this thing, I tried starting it last night and it starts dead easy. Watch this. That's it. So there's a couple of things I need to do to it today. I need to sort out the oil injection, make sure all that's working, and I need to do the gearbox oil. And I've just found out a reason why it may not have been starting on the push start, on the electric start, so I'll give that a go. But first I'll go get it out of the van. Obviously this thing's variated belt drive, and it's got a final drive gearbox in the back, and that's where you put the transmission oil. And a lot of these old Hondas have only got one hole, you see there, 0.9 litres of oil, and that is the drain hole, the fill hole and the level hole. So you tip it over to let the oil out. I'm going to tip it off the back of this van. You can see I've already had a go at it. And then you fill it from there as well, and it overflows when it's full. I'm not a big fan of that. I'd rather have a hole for each. But I've drained the oil out. There's all the oil that came out. That isn't 0.9 litres. So let's see how much we can put in. I suspect I've not got it all out. Now, it uses the same gearbox oil as the Tomos, the 10W40, so thankfully I got plenty of it. And I've got my sauce bottle as well, the Travis tutorial method. So let's fill it up and see what happens. It seems to be going in fairly slowly, but the problem with this is it kind of overflows due to the surface tension stopping it going in the hole and all the rest of it. And because the bike wasn't totally level, I'm not sure really if we got all of it out, if we'll get the right amount in, anything like that. I'd much rather have a hole on the bottom I can do. Now there's the oil feed line, and another job I'm going to do is sort out the oil pump, make sure it all works and everything. So that's where it goes in. I'm going to drain that into here, and once the tank's drained, I'm going to put some new oil in it, sorry, because it gets all thick and viscous and nasty and knackers up your oil pump. And then we'll try it out and see if it works. Now I'm just taking the oil line off now. I didn't cut the clip, by the way, I just pinched it off, but I don't have any pliers, so I had to use these cable clips, and it's not working that well. Cable cutters, I mean, not cable clips. I know what I'm trying to say, sort of makes sense. So pull this off eventually, and pull the other one off where it comes out of the pump and into the inlet. We'll drain that out, put some fresh oil in there as well, and then we'll get it running and see. It should be sort of slowly pulsing out the end of that pipe there. You can see it's not all the way to the end already, so I'll pull that out. There we are, that's better, focus. I'll pull it out, blow through it to get it all out, fill it back up again once I've clipped it back on at the pump end, and then start the engine and we'll see what we do. You can see in there, that's where it attaches on, in case you're doing this yourself, which I suppose you might be. I still can't believe what a total bargain this thing is. It runs sweet as a nut. I'm loving it. It does have a tendency not to restart very well if you turned it off after it's not been running very long. I think it needs to warm up, and perhaps it's something to do with flooding the carb with the automatic pet carb when it's not turning off. So anyway, let's just leave this to drain now. Okay, so here's the crack. A bit of oil is coming out. I don't know if that's enough oil, and if I take my finger off there, it dies out. So I'm going to stay here and watch it. Been revving it up a bit, and it doesn't seem to be coming out much faster than that, but that might well be a perfect amount, I don't know. It works. So what I'm going to do is drain the tank and the tube, put fresh oil in, because this stuff tends to get a bit viscous, and then knackers up your fuel pump, and I'll drain that pipe as well and see if it eventually pushes oil along the pipe. So that is the plan. This may take a while. So here she is. I've drained the tank, I've put some fresh in. I didn't connect the feed tube up until it was dribbling out the end. I then turned it on, revved it for a bit, saw it pulsing out the end. It was dripping about maybe 3 or 4 drips a minute. There's the oil that came out of it. I'm going to need some absorbent granules for the floor so that work aren't upset with me. But also, one last thing. So, the electric start doesn't work. Turn it on, nothing. So I read in the manual, you click that, back brake now locked, and that's it. Next stop, MOT, hopefully. This thing has not ceased to amaze me at all. It's just been brilliant. Now, the thing about mopeds is, the old step-through ones, one of the main reasons I like them is that you never ever see them about. Scooters are 10 a penny. This one, however, was one of the first sort of mass-produced plastic pig type ones. This is the one that's copied all the time now by all the Chinese manufacturers and stuff. They normally have a clone Honda engine in, which is very similar to this one, and they're all kind of a generic-y thing. However, this is the original. This is what started it all off. Before this, they were all Vespas and things where they're with metal cowlings on them and things, metal leg shields and everything. And, you know, I like it. It's very 80s. Reminds me a bit of a Sinclair C5. And I don't think I'd own one much newer than this. But this is where it's at, so far as 80s twist and go scooters are concerned. I'll never quite be as much of a fan of them as the step-throughs, but there's I can definitely see me riding this to work, especially because the lights and everything are going to be a lot nicer on it than on, say, a Puch Maxi. So if I'm riding it to work in bad weather or at night, you know, and it's handy to have a fuel gauge as well. So this is the beast. Thank you very much for watching. Next stop, MOT. Yeah, it's alright, isn't it? Not bad, 50 quid. I did 20 in it earlier, it felt like I was doing about fucking 80.